Wednesday, November. Good evening. Let's see if we can do this again. It's Wednesday, November 19th. This is the regular meeting of the Harpswell Planning Board. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask our Vice Chair, Dan, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dan. All right, we have a fairly full agenda tonight, and some of the applications are a little bit complicated, so bear with the board as we sort of talk amongst ourselves, because there are a number of things here that are that may come into play depending upon what direction we go. We're going to begin with an older application that we looked at last. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to get right to business. I really do. I don't care whether anybody knows who anybody is or not. We're just going to jump right in. We're going to introduce our board members before we begin. Beginning.
Courtney Snellings.
Lori Rice.
Oh, you got one. I got one.
Yep. Amy Heibel.
Dan Hobeck.
Heather Allen.
Christine Donovan Hall.
And I'm Margaret McIntyre, the town planner.
Thank
and
you.
I do just want anybody on Zoom who wishes to speak, they just need to raise their hands, and if they're on a cell phone, they need to press *9.
And we are on Zoom, but we're televised. So do we have to do a roll call vote? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're doing a roll call vote. All right. Now, back to business. The first item on the agenda is, I'm
we
sorry,
need to-
did I forget something else?
Quorum.
Oh,
Yeah, we have
oy
one of them.
vey.
You really are in a hurry.
I am. I'm in a hurry. All right, we need 4 members to have a quorum, but we can certainly take 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Heather is an alternate, so she's absolutely welcome to participate, ask questions, observations, and everything. But unless somebody cannot vote, then Heather will not be voting. Now, a third time lucky. Are we ready to start to go through these things? Okay. The first item is 250602. It's old business, James and Sarah Merriman. This is the Tranquil Shores subdivision. This subdivision has some interesting twists and turns. We have a representative from, I believe, from Sightlines here who may or may not be speaking. And we also have the town attorney, Amy Chow, who is on but is not prepared to make a presentation tonight. She's listening. So I'm going to ask our illustrious town planner, Margaret McIntyre, to just bring us up to date. She's been communicating with Amy, and she can sort of pull things together and tell us where we are at this moment.
Yeah, it's a complicated one. So we first saw this application back in June, I believe. The applicant is essentially asking to remove 2 lots from the Tranquil Shores subdivision. That's lots 5 and 6. They're in the same ownership by the Merriman family. I think it's James and Sarah Merriman own both lots. And they came to the board and requested to remove just 2 lots from this 6-ish lot subdivision. Sometimes 4, sometimes 6. Now I think it's up to 8 lots. But we, at that meeting, questioned the legality of being able to remove lots from a subdivision. And so we requested the applicant provide us with a legal opinion. He provided that on, we received it on October 1st of 2025 from Hopkinson and Abundanza. I don't know how to say it. Is that right? Okay, cool, thanks. Glad it's wrong on the record. So we received that on October 1st. We then provided it to our town attorney, Amy Chow, from Drummond and Woodsum. She provided us with a memo, which we have here. We have the Hopkinson letter here, and then using some research that Amy had done and some research I did on my own, I provided a memo with a history of the subdivision. Basically, Sightlines, Kevin Clark is a representative here from Sightlines. His argument is that lots 3 and 6 on the original subdivision plan were supposed to be held by the subdivider for 5 years, which makes them not subject to subdivision law, was essentially the argument. So those lots should be able to be removed from the subdivision because they were not really lots subdivided. They were exempt. So through research and a number of affidavits and amendments, we found that the developer did not retain lots 3 and 6 for a period of 5 years. And then he came, so that was in 1983. The subdivision, the original approval said, keep those 2 lots. And then he came back to the town in 1984 after having sold one of the 2 lots, lot 3. And the planning board said, okay, you sold those 2 lots. You sold one of those lots that you're supposed to keep. Just keep any of the 2 lots. We don't care which 2. Retain 2. You can sell 4, retain 2. And then through an affidavit of Larry Losey, who's in the audience, that was also recorded in the Registry of Deeds, we find out that when one of the lot owners in 1988 went to refinance or something, the title attorney found all these title issues because the developer did not retain any of the 6 lots for the 5 years. So then the homeowners came back to the town, to the planning board, and the planning board basically agreed to clear up the title issues, that all 6 lots were now included as part of the subdivision plan. And that kind of got rid of some of those issues. So that was the amendment in 1988. So all of that to be said, that this argument, the original argument of Sightlines that those lots should be able to be removed because they're exempt, because that's what the original subdivision plan said, is kind of a moot point. So they're not exempt. They're actually lots within a subdivision. They were sold within the 5 years that they weren't supposed to be sold. All the lots were. And so then it kind of gets us to our second question, which is, now that that argument's off the table, can they just remove the lots from the subdivision? And I think that that's what Amy Chow's letter really addresses. And if anybody in the audience wants a copy of it, there are a couple copies over there on the table.
All right, so the question before us is whether we can remove the lots from the subdivision, whether we can legally do that, whether we have the authority as a planning board to remove lots from a previously approved subdivision. I know that Dan has got some thoughts about this.
Well,
Probably
I think it
recommend
goes
it.
beyond whether we have the technical authority to remove lots from the subdivision. Although, as Attorney Chow said, this is something that is very, very infrequently done. So the question is, from the record that we have in front of us and the nature of the way subdivisions are developed and used, whether that is an action that we feel is appropriate to take.
In my understanding from Ms. Chow's memo is that there are very rare circumstances, and they are usually de minimis changes. When a planning board changes the lot lines in a subdivision, it's usually for things like correcting a road right-of-way, combining 2 lots, making corrections that just further illuminate boundaries that are de minimis. if planning boards had the right and had the habit of removing lots from subdivisions, another point that Ms. Chow points out is that all of the owners of other lots in the subdivision could not rely upon the legal boundaries of a subdivision that they bought into and for which they have deeds and are part of a larger organization. They could not rely on that. They couldn't have good faith that when a subdivision is approved, that it will stay the way it was approved. I think breaking that, I don't know if the word for it would be trust, but breaking that legal organization, I think would be, I think is beyond our capacity. It's beyond our ability to do. We may be technically able to do it in some ways, but I think it exceeds our, what's being asked now seems to me to be exceeding our authority. That's how I feel about it at this
Okay.
point. I'll put that on the
All
table.
right, let me just go a little bit further in the rationale for creating subdivisions in the first place. When a subdivision plan is brought before the town, we are always thinking of it in terms of best management, best use of the land, how does it fit with total plan and all that. And then, once the subdivision is created, it lets the people who buy in know that this is what they can anticipate for the use of their neighboring properties. So then the question is, if somebody wants to remove property from that subdivision, what are they planning to do with it that they could not do if it was contained in the subdivision? And, I think those things put together, it's a very high bar to exceed, to say that people who have bought in reliance on the subdivision as it was when they made the purchase, they are entitled to rely on it unless there's a very compelling reason to change. Now, sometimes what we'll find is that there are going to be some minor changes within the subdivision, changing a couple of lot lines. Particularly, much of that happens early on in the subdivision development when there isn't a whole lot of development there. But minor changes within the subdivision that don't change the character or use or density is the type of thing that's most typical.
And we've done that a couple of times.
Yeah.
We have combined lots. In one case, we were asked to combine two lots in a subdivision to create one lot, which we did. Then we were asked, actually a year or two later, to go back and uncombine those lots. But when they were uncombined, they were split into the original boundaries that the original approval was delineated. So in essence, it was changed and then changed back to the original. So Amy suggests that there are four things that we take a look at. One is the timing of the request to remove the lot from the subdivision. And she says that, I'll just pull out what I think are the most critical sentences. She says, this subdivision amendment request comes almost 4 decades after the original subdivision approval in 1983, and well after all 6 lots had been sold as depicted on the plan. This is not a request by the original subdivider to remove areas from an approved subdivision that were never developed and for which there's no market, and then revert these areas to their unsubdivided status prior to the original removal. So it's the timing, that's one issue. The second issue is reliance interests by other subdivision lot owners, and this is what Dan was just saying. The 4 other lot owners generally have a right to have the final subdivision plan developed as depicted on the approved and recorded plan. That's a very minimum pulling out of her major points. And she said that the Sightlines does have signed consents from the other 4 subdivision lot owners. However, the planning board may wish to inquire as to the sufficiency of these consents and whether they were based on the informed consent of the other lot owners. So that's something we may need to ask for. The third is the reason for the request to remove the lots from the subdivision. And she points out that neither Sightlines nor the Hopkinson letter disclose why the applicants here are seeking to combine lots 5 and 6 and then remove them from the subdivision. And she said if their only goal was to combine lots 5 and 6 into a newly consolidated 5.4 acre parcel, they could just seek an amendment to merely combine lots 5 and 6, and the single lot would remain within the original subdivision, just reducing the number of lots in the subdivision. If, however, she says it would be advantageous from a zoning perspective to remove the consolidated lot from the subdivision to allow more intense development of the newly created parcel than would otherwise be permitted if the same area were to remain within the subdivision, then this could be the potential impetus behind the current request. And the planning board is entitled to inquire about these reasons and to determine whether the subdivision amendment application, whether intentionally or not, may have the effect of circumventing the requirements of the town's ordinances. So that's what we have. And I want to just know, any other observations from the board? All right.
I think you
Shall
covered
we?
it well. I think you covered it well. Maybe we can hear from the
Yeah,
applicant?
absolutely. All right. Hear from the applicants or the applicant's rep.
You mind if I go first, Heather? Thank you. I'm Jim Merriman, and on behalf of my wife, Sarah, my family, we'd like to thank you for taking your time to review our application. I think I'm a little more confused now than when we first started this process. And I don't know if we want to remove 5 and 6. The ultimate goal is to, and I'm not sure which, we call it Ellie's lot because Ellie Hunter was our neighbor for 30 years, and we purchased the property from her. And when you were there on the site visit, it was the north side of Curtis Cove. Where we currently live is on the south side. And I had some advice at the time, some legal advice, that, yeah, you could buy the property, you could divide it, We were unsure of purchasing a property with a house on it that was built in 1767. And, keeping up with the upgrades, the house is in good shape. So we purchased the property, and I'm sorry to jump around a little bit, but you probably should like a little history. We purchased the property with the intent to, just sell the older house and move the barn, because the barn is in great shape, and put it on the vacant half of that lot. Well, times have changed, and our kids have had kids, and currently our oldest daughter lives there with our granddaughter. And my daughter's graduated from high school and looking for a place to live. So, we wanted to divide the lot, but we don't meet the 2-acre minimum to do that within a subdivision. So, with sightlines and, the lawyers give their opinions on whether you can or can't do it. And the bottom line is really all we want to do is just create another lot. Or divide a lot. I don't know if we need to take the lots out. It seems confusing to me to remove the lots when I don't know if that's the best avenue or not. So that so that Harpswell kids can stay in Harpswell. We're not looking to change the landscape. And this is years ago. I went to my neighbors and told them that this is what I was thinking about doing, and they said, yeah, it seems reasonable to us. And it just has dragged on, and finally, we're here before you folks and going over this. I'm not sure the best way to get there. It seems like a reasonable request to me. Right, but because I'm the applicant too, but that's the main goal. We just want to keep the Harpswell kids here, and having my daughter right across the street would be, one's great, and two would be even better. So my neighbors, I've kept them up to speed over the years as to, where we stand, and it's going to become a little bit of a joke between some of us. I don't know, but that is the ultimate goal. There's nothing here that we're trying to change, the landscape of our subdivision and or anything with the town ordinance. I think they're looking at a Cape style house to put there in the field, which I think would be very fitting. So, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer the best I can. But it seems like it's gotten. I know you folks have your T's to cross and I's to dot, but it seems like it's gotten a little muddy to me. Confusing,
Yeah.
and but that's really the bottom line. And if you remember, the first time we met before the board, two of the neighbors that one abuts us to the north and one on the road frontage, they spoke in favor. They didn't have a problem with it. So if my neighbors within the subdivision and my neighbors with outside the subdivision don't have a problem with it, I'm not sure. Hopefully you can see that it's reasonable and we can find a way to do this. And I'm not sure if taking lots out or dividing a lot. I guess maybe I could leave some of the expertise to Kevin, but that's where my wife and I stand anyways. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, if they could stay within the subdivision, is there a way to do what they're talking about doing?
I don't, I just want to say, it's not the planning board's job to figure out how to get the applicant what they want. The applicant needs to bring a concise and meaningful proposal to the planning board. And I'm not convinced that that's happened yet. The first argument that was brought to the board, that reasoning that this subdivision, these lots should be able to be removed, is no longer a valid argument. So where we stand now, from what believe me, I read it, but I'm not a mind reader, and I also am, I don't really propose to know what all of the possibilities are. We don't have any further information at this point upon which we can take any action. We don't have an application at this point that we can really review substantively. Am I right in saying that, Margaret? Would you say that's true?
I mean, they did apply, and you could act. I mean, I'm over here thinking, like, kind of what's the point? Like, you could act on the application as it was submitted to you, which is lots 5 and 6 are exempt, so let us remove them. I think that question has been answered, and the discussion could stop there.
Okay.
And we could continue on this discussion, at least hear what, Kevin has to say. But I think how the planning board proceeds, I don't know, I guess it's kind of up to you.
Okay, thank you.
I do think we've answered the first question, which was what was contained in their application.
Yeah, okay.
But, yeah.
Thank you, that clarifies
And
it.
we did get the answer of intent, which was kind of another big question, like, why are we doing this? But I think we all agree with why we're doing this, which is to keep children young people in Harpswell and allow land ownership for young families. So
But we still have to follow the ordinance.
yeah, of course.
Every planning board member would have to do that. Members of the public would have to do that.
Yeah.
That's, we're required to do that. It's pretty simple from that perspective. So, yes, sir.
All right, Kevin Clark from Sightlines, representing the Merrimans. Obviously, this has been a long road, and it's been possibly convoluted along the way. In reading, I got Amy's, or Attorney Cho's letter today, so
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of time to make revisions or prepare. I basically was able to read it and write down some thoughts. But what I take, and with the additional information, with the affidavits that were found, I would agree that the 1988 revision brought those lots into the subdivision because it was trying to clear up title because the developer at that time didn't follow any of the rules. And we had no control over that, and that was before the Merrimans were owners there. And I think that all came out when Mr. Losi bought, and so he's okay. So it goes back a little ways.
Driveway to our house.
So there were many problems with the way the development took place. I think, but we accept that in order to remove those lots, we would have to get an amendment to the subdivision plan. Both attorneys have the opinion that you have the authority to review the application to remove and vacate those two lots from the subdivision. I don't think they argued with that. I think Attorney Cho had more information and was much more hesitant in the process that you would have to follow.
She set a higher bar.
Correct.
Yep.
And I think that's a bar we could meet with a full application as if you were doing a new subdivision. Whereas when you're doing an amendment, you often
Right.
don't provide all 18 or 20 of the criteria from Chapter 4404, which we would like an opportunity to do that. But I would like to first, obviously the timing is not trying to fix something that was wrong with the plan. We're trying to do something now for the Merriamans that have developed as they have this opportunity to do that. The problem we run against is one of the ordinance, because it's a lot in a subdivision. If it were not in the subdivision, he could gift two lots of over an acre to his children, and they would be exempt, and it would be permitted. It wouldn't even require subdivision review. In this case, it does require, or in your ordinance it does. In many towns, after 5 years, the 5-year clause that's in different sections of the subdivision ordinance, they don't require that you even come back to you amend a lot if you make changes or divide it and you conform with the ordinance.
May I just ask you to clarify one thing, Mr. Clark? So if we remove the lots from the subdivision, then the 80,000 acre square foot per lot provision would no longer apply. And then we would go back to just the basic land use ordinance, and you could cut out lots of 40,000 square feet and sell them off. And you have 3.13 acres on Lot 5 and 2.25 acres on Lot 6.
And I think one of the situations is both lots are on both sides of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So what we would hope to do is have Jim's lot where he has his home and business on the south side of the road as one parcel, and 2 parcels of over an acre on the north side of the road. But there are no provisions for that reduction in the subdivision ordinance, and that's why we're asking to have it removed and vacated, because it is all in the same ownership now. The other lot owners have all been aware, they've provided their notice, they've all provided a letter saying that they are in favor of this. This isn't a situation where this was a 20 or 30 lot subdivision with a large homeowners association and so forth. This is some lots that were sold, and then they had to do a subdivision plan to clear up the title situation. And it's a private road that's sort of maintained ad hoc, and so it's not a situation where you have people that don't know what's going on. There's only the 4 other lot owners, and they've all said they're aware of it and they're in favor of it. And I think Jim spoke better about, what his intention is than I could.
Yep.
'Cause
Yep.
It's close to him, it's passionate to him.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
And so how we'd like to move forward is if the board sees that they have the authority to review that amendment to remove those 2 lots, and if the board is willing to move forward with that. And I think that's where we stand. If you need additional information, we would happily provide that.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Any questions from the board for Mr. Clark?
If you don't mind, so you've got a homeowners association with a road, a common road.
Actually, there is not,
It's not?
no.
Okay.
It's maintained via handshake and wink.
Well, I live on
and-
it's exactly the same situation.
Yeah.
It's ad hoc, we do it whatever needs to
Yeah.
get done, we work together as a group, and there's no formal collection of anything. So
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. But I'm looking at how the road goes to Route 123. So if you take these out of the subdivision, how does that impact the other property owners that are still part of the subdivision?
They would still have the right-of-way, the 50-foot right-of-way through the lots to get to 123, and we'd actually try to clear up the ownership on the north and the south so that we don't have lots that extend on both sides of
Okay.
that roadway. So it'd be more like a traditional road or right-of-way.
So what I'm looking at here, this is the entirety of the subdivision, is that correct?
Yeah.
Not any of these abutting properties are not part of the subdivision, am I right?
No.
Just this section?
Yes.
Thank you.
And, well, we did the amendment and split 1 lot in the field last year, if you recall. No, it wasn't last year, it was last June. It seems like last year.
It does. Thank you. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah. I understand what you're trying to accomplish, and it's admirable. When we were out there and you were explaining it to us, I really appreciated what you're trying to do. What we're trying to figure out a way is to figure out a way that we can accomplish as many goals as possible while still being true to the constraints that we have. One of the questions that I have is, if you were to take this property out of the subdivision, do you have a plan as to how it would then be subdivided into 3 lots?
I don't know, I did not bring a copy of that, but I can roughly show you. This would still maintain as Jim and Sarah's lot.
Okay.
South of the roadway.
Yep.
And then this parcel north of the roadway would be divided somewhere in there that meets the setbacks to the barn, so that there could be another home constructed in that field. So there would be, instead of 2 lots, as it is now, there would be, 3 buildable lots.
I'm sorry, 3 in that,
Well,
and that
two-
one?
two here, but
Oh, okay.
there's one
Yeah,
existing,
right,
and then the one of the old farmhouse, and then one new.
right. But the bottom lot, the southern one would remain as it is.
Yeah.
The Merrimans already are there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Right now, I mean, there's a question of pieces that were sold back and forth on both
Okay.
sides.
So you would have lot
Oh, yeah.
6, which is,
I'm sorry, you warned me.
lot 6, which is 2.25 acres, would stay with the Merrimans, the elder Merrimans. And then lot 5, which is 3.13 acres, would be subdivided once or 3 times?
Once.
Okay, so there would be 2 acre and a half or a little bit more
They would
lots.
both exceed an acre.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that.
The other lot to the east, the 13.5 acre, the really large one there.
Is that Losie's lot?
Lot 4?
Is that what you're talking about? This one? I
Yeah.
can't
To the
read.
west.
I think it's lot 4.
Yeah,
Yeah, lot 4.
so there's lot 4.
Lot 4?
Lot,
4,
Right.
which we divided
Are you
into
looking
the
right
lot
here?
out of that.
yeah.
That actually, Jim's son purchased that. And then another member of the subdivision purchased the remaining part of lot 4.
Okay.
Okay. I was just looking to see if there was any place within the subdivision that you could acquire more land in order to do that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
I
thing.
did look at that, and it would have to be very,
I know you can't take the cemetery.
we can't use it for density, which is too bad. Tried, I've thought of these things. I mean, you could make some weird L flag that goes out and gives you area, but it's not usable.
But it would give you, may not be usable, but if you could use that to get the minimum square footage.
And we even talked about doing, a flexible lot size.
Can you be specific? Can you explain what that means for me? And anyone else maybe that doesn't get it?
Sure.
Thank you.
In the subdivision ordinance, there's a provision where you can do a flexible lot size subdivision where the lot sizes are actually smaller, but you have so if you were doing 3 lots, you would have the density for the 3 lots. So you would have 6 acres, or 3 times 80,000.
So you have open space is
But
what
then
you're
you
saying?
provide
Okay.
open space.
Thank you.
And smaller building lots, but even in that situation, we don't have enough with those combined to do that.
Any other questions from the board?
Okay, but as it stands right now, the application is based on something erroneous, which is the fact that it states that Lot 6 was not a part of the subdivision, correct?
Correct.
It's no longer exempt.
It's no longer exempt.
Yeah.
Right.
But we still, our application is still pending and could be revised to
Yeah.
address an amendment to vacate those 2 lots.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, unless you've got more questions.
I'd really like to find a way to make this work, while still addressing the issues that our attorney made. And one of the concerns that seems to be one of the most important, aside from general land use, is the reaction of the neighbors if the people within the subdivision, if these 2 lots were to be excluded from the subdivision. I know you've said that there have been some conversations about that with
Well,
them.
there are actually letters from all of them in the application.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, they were in the original application, the applicant signed off.
But that was with the understanding that Lot 6 already was excluded from the subdivision.
Well, I think it was probably, those letters were probably written before we made that argument, but,
Okay.
because I think they predate the application by a year or more. Yeah, those were dated in 2022.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jim has been talking with those folks for some
Yeah,
time.
I know
about
these conversations have been going on for a long time. I think Attorney Child's question had to do with whether the consent was informed, whether they had an exact idea of what was going on. And, you know, to my way of thinking, and I'm just trying to find a way here. But if we could provide how you are proposing to divide those lots. And get a consent along with your proposed use of it, and provide those to the neighboring property owners. And then get their consent on that.
Are you suggesting that they would stay in the subdivision? Because they did consent to be removed, both lots from the
No,
subdivision.
I'm talking about, because there's no way within the subdivision right
Right.
now that we're going to be able to put 3 homes there. Is that right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
You can't split it into 3 lots or have 3 principal dwellings.
Yeah.
Right, but it does say for them to be removed from the subdivision, so I'm just
Yeah.
trying to clarify what you're asking that's different.
I think what,
Okay.
and I don't want to put
Yeah.
words in your mouth, but I think what Dan's asking is if we showed the neighbors what we intend to do as an exhibit to a letter that says they know full well what we're going to do if we remove those lots from the subdivision and they sign off on that letter, then you would feel that they have a better informed consent.
Yeah, and especially considering that the other lots within the only people who are really being affected by this subdivision right now are the people who are being served by that road.
That's
Is that
not true.
correct?
There are abutters also.
No, I'm just talking within the
Oh, okay,
subdivision.
I got it, okay.
Okay. So those are the people who are most directly affected by it, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Legally, in terms of ownership within the subdivision,
yes.
yes.
So are you abandoning your idea, which I thought was a good one, of getting a little bit more land in order? I mean, it sounds like Mr. Merriman probably doesn't want to leave the subdivision if he could stay there and have his kids there. I'm thinking. Maybe I'm misspeaking for you. But if there were a way to get enough land so that the parcels could remain in the subdivision, are you backing away from that? I thought that was a good idea.
No, I'm
Okay.
looking at a couple of different alternatives.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
This final subdivision plan that is dated, I'm not sure I can even read it. It's this one that was, thank you.
It's so teeny.
The red on it.
Earlier on this year, we approved a subdivision from Mr. Losey's property that was subdivided, and I wonder if this plan, which shows Mr. Losey's property, reflects that subdivision that we approved when? Earlier this summer, June, something like that? Does this plan
That plan
reflect that?
that plan that you're holding is from 1988.
Yes, it's 1988.
Do we have an updated plan that shows the revisions from Mr. Losey's property? Because that was all this is all part of that subdivision.
I don't
with
have
these
an
lots.
updated revised one with me, but I could provide one.
So,
This is 88.
I think,
may I just finish here?
Yeah.
Because I have
Can't
a
read
couple
this
of
one.
things, of issues. This is where I'm standing at this point. I think we have too much of a mishmash here. I think I would advise the applicant to go back and really think this. I think we should table this. I think the applicant should go back and think about the issues that we have raised, one of which is, do we really have informed consent with the neighbors for this? We need new informed consent affidavits, whatever form that's in. The other thing is that we have to clean up this outstanding right-of-way. so that Mr. Losi has a right-of-way to his property. We're just adding confusion after confusion. Yeah, after confusion to this. We need an updated subdivision plan of which these lots are a part, so it's all on one piece of paper. And then we need to consider the impact, if we remove this lot from that subdivision, we need to consider with our attorney what the impact of future subdivision approvals is for this board. Because I personally will have an uncomfortable feeling of approving future subdivisions should they come before this board, knowing that the property owners could come back to another board in a decade or 5 years or 18 months and say, we don't really like being part of this subdivision, we want to be out of it now. That just is, to me, a legal nightmare. It's a planning nightmare. And so those are all issues that I really feel need to be on the table and cleaned up before we proceed much further with this.
I agree.
I think that one of the ideal thing would be to see if you could acquire enough additional square footage from one of those neighboring lots, so that you would have 3 2-acre lots. Because at that point then, we're much more confined to within the subdivision, and do all the people within the subdivision agree to this? Whereas once, as Amy said, once we remove it from the subdivision, then we're dealing with other issues like abutting property owners and things like that.
Especially since the stated objective, as legitimate as it might be, to removing these lots from this subdivision is to increase density. That is one of the points that Ms. Chow pointed to, which she said, if, however, it would be advantageous from a zoning perspective to remove the consolidated lot from the subdivision to allow more intense development of the newly created parcel than would otherwise be permitted if the same area were to remain within the subdivision, then this could be the potential impetus behind the current request. And I'm not quoting from Amy now, but I think it could have consequences down the line for future subdivisions that I think really belie the subdivision law in its entirety. I think that really it jeopardizes the subdivision law, from my perspective. And I'm not a lawyer, but that's my feeling on it. It's like, why do we bother? So these are just questions that I think we need to clear up, and maybe we need to speak more with our attorney. But I'm not sure that you want us to make a decision tonight, but we'll be happy to make one if you'd like us to.
No, I don't think I think we understood receiving that letter at the 12th hour here. We were going
We
to
just
need to
got
come
it,
back.
too.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of time to react or prepare
We
something.
just got it.
Absolutely, understood.
No, we all
But I think we're
understand.
making
and-
progress because we're at least discussing solutions and are of a like mind of what we're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely.
And like I said, we understand what's trying to be accomplished here. I've got children too. I would love to do the same thing. How to do it, but I'm very worried about the going forward, the precedent this is going to set, and it can come back and bite the entire town. And that's beyond, it's an unintended consequences, but it's a very real one.
We just have to make.
So do you see a path forward for things that you could possibly do that,
We could investigate at least.
okay?
Yeah.
And also contact the abutters to
Yeah,
make
that-
sure that, that they are definitely consenting, of the other subdivision owners,
Yes.
something that's updated? Okay.
Before you even get into the subdivision, the abutters and what their consent is, I think it's important to set an understanding are you going to allow the lots to be removed with the intent of circumventing the subdivision ordinance? I think before you even,
Circumvents.
I mean, it's
It's
circumventing it
avoiding.
because he does not want to meet, because you're trying to avoid meeting the minimum lot size within a subdivision, so you want to be held to
Yeah.
a easier set of standards, a more relaxed set of
Different,
standards.
just say different.
Therefore, circumventing the subdivision ordinance. So I think before you guys even get into that discussion, you just need to decide, I mean, you don't have to decide tonight. This can come at a future meeting. I think we should table it because of all the other people here and
Yeah.
because we have so many questions. But I think that the idea of allowing the applicant to remove the lots to circumvent the subdivision ordinance is a decision, kind of a precedent that, that you guys can decide on. But I think it's an important one.
If we were to vote on it right now, I know how I would vote. I would like to have, I'd like to table this and have more conversation with the town attorney about wording and possible ramifications and alternatives, and then come back and share that.
But the burden of proof is on the applicant. So
Absolutely.
before the town invests more in our attorneys, do we want to ask something of the applicant or their attorney? Is there something that we're asking, that we can ask of them to provide?
I know Ms. Chow is on, maybe she's not on this call anymore, but I would love to just get some feedback from her about how she feels we might proceed with her counsel.
Okay. We will work on that for the next meeting.
I agree, it makes sense to table it, now that you've heard what we're talking about. Clearly, the best way to move forward would be to do it within the four corners of the subdivision.
Yes.
So there are 4 issues. I just want to make sure we get them all. One is new informed consent. The second is to clean up the outstanding right-of-way. The third is future division of the parcels if they are removed from the subdivision. And then the fourth is for the board to really confer a little bit more with the attorney to look at any possible decision that the board makes on future subdivision approval. So those are my 4 issues. There may be more, but those are just the ones that I got. If there are more, if we come up with more, we'll get them to you, sir.
Oops.
So you have
Thank you very much.
you have a motion,
The table.
I do.
you have a motion to table, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I move to table this application until those 4 items previously listed are addressed.
I seconded it, but you were still talking. Sorry. Now I second it again.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Have to go.
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Oh, that's right, we have to do it by roll.
Yeah.
Lori Rice, aye.
Amy Hybel, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
That's why I have to
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
talk anyway.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Wow.
See you in a month.
Margaret, did you get those 4 things down in your notes? Because they're somewhere in this packet of information.
Oh, it's recorded.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
We'll listen.
okay,
yeah. I don't take any notes. I just watch the recording.
okay, all right.
Right.
I always feel like if I don't have it written down, I'm going to,
It's like,
Yep.
I like it written down. so.
Yep.
I do too.
it doesn't allow you to.
I know.
Okay.
Yep, you're right. That's why Dan's idea was good.
Wow, that took almost an hour.
Did everybody get their paperwork together?
Let's see, wait a minute. So,
Get the next one up.
Mr. Ziegler, right? Oops. Yep.
No, I didn't do this one.
All right.
Amy, is it okay if I give an intro to this one?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Please do.
So this is Andrew Ziegler. He is starting an artist collective at 1906 Harpswell Neck Road, the former Estes Lobster House. It's got a couple things going on the lot. The second story is going to be like for rent artist use spaces. The first floor is going to be kind of a multi-purpose event space. You could do a gallery. You could have private chef's dinners. And then outside, he has approval for up to 2 food trucks with seating. So it's kind of a cool space to bring the community together and provide space for artists to work in town. We approved it back in September, I think, with a condition of approval regarding the septic capacity for all of his uses, because it was a little murky, and how the painter's waste is going to be handled. He provided a letter from Old North Environmental. We got a peer review from Grohl Palmer. They both have conditions of approval, so that kind of prompted him to come back to the planning board so the planning board can, in a public forum, discuss all these conditions, decide how they want to handle each one. And then also, he is proposing to tear up a bunch of pavement along the back side of the building and replace it with stones and shells to deal with a little bit of erosion and undermining. And because at the first planning board meeting, we made a bunch of findings based on the fact that there was no groundwork to be done. Now there's groundwork to be done, so I think that it's worth the planning board being able to make new findings if you choose to. But I think on the record, it needs to be documented that the approval was based on something that now has changed. So.
Stairway?
And then there's also a stairway, which we will discuss.
Right.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Did the new information that you said was missing in your findings dated for today's meeting, did that new information come in?
I think we were missing a stairway plan and a septic inspection.
Okay,
Right.
that's still missing, okay.
The stairway plan has been submitted, but it's actually more than what he put in his application. So he said in the application, we're going to rebuild one set of stairs code compliant, which is fine, but the planning board gets to review the expansion or changing of dimensions of any non-residential structure. So we weren't given those dimensions. So Andrew provided the dimensions of the new stairs, but also proposed an extra set of stairs. So that's not included at all in this. So that's an issue for another meeting. But also, the septic inspection is not complete yet.
Okay.
Does that make sense? There's kind of layered.
Yeah, I didn't catch your last,
Septic system.
your last statement in the information that we got. Maybe I just didn't see it, but I didn't
here.
catch it.
Which one?
The additional stairs?
It's not in there because I got that. I gave Andrew the draft motions. He said, oh, you said in the draft motions you need the dimensions for the stairs, so we provided them. But there's an additional set of stairs in his proposal that's not reflected at all in this.
Okay, that's what I.
So it's not a replacement then?
It's both.
It's both?
No,
Replacement of
the
one.
additional one is
Right,
not.
not a
That's,
replacement.
okay, thank you.
Right. So he's,
Okay.
and it has all to do with the fire code and life safety.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these things come up.
Okay, so the reason that this is back before us is that there were changes to the approved plan that Margaret determined were beyond de minimis changes, and in an effort to be transparent and open, we're now meeting again. So, would the board like to hear from the applicant?
Yeah, the changes.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear the changes.
Always.
He's
All
here,
right,
Hi.
definitely.
Yes, please.
Hi, everybody. Andy Ziegler. Thank you for having me today. Good to see everybody's smiling faces again. So fundamentally, we went through a lot last time, and thank you very much for your patience as we went through that process. The proposal of tearing up the asphalt is, Amy, something you and I had discussed when you were on site
yeah, I remember.
as something that could be beneficial to the area, creating more permeable space as opposed to the impermeable asphalt that was there. So the alternative to what we're proposing is essentially repairing the existing asphalt, which, wouldn't look particularly good, and it doesn't provide any benefit to the area. So what we proposed, and we ran it by, we did a permit by rule through the state of Maine, and they approved it, which was basically removing the asphalt that is on the north side of the building, facing the water, facing over towards the Dolphin Marina area. To tear that asphalt up, recycle the asphalt, and put down permeable materials, which would be a combination of pea stone, some gravel underneath, some, what do they call it, the landscaping fabric to prevent the erosion and so forth, and then some either granite or I think it was wood to go along the edge to prevent further erosion as for the storm. So I think the question that Margaret brought up was, do we need plantings? The State of Maine Department of Environmental Protection, we had multiple conversations with Sarah from the DEP, another gentleman from the DEP as well, and they came back and said that the plan that we submitted met the appropriate code from the State of Maine's perspective, so we wouldn't need plantings or anything like that to prevent the erosion. So I think that was the question that Margaret had. Margaret, I don't want to speak for you, but I think that was the fundamental question was, do we need additional plantings?
My question is whether or not you met the stormwater management standard of the site plan review ordinance, which has really nothing to do with the state of Maine's planting standards. So that's all we have to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fundamentally, from my perspective, and I'll leave it up to the experts here, but we're replacing asphalt with permeable material, so I would imagine that's probably more beneficial than, having asphalt there, but I'll leave that up to you guys.
So I made draft motions that I thought tried to capture any standards that were changed from the original approval. But you're welcome to make it any findings. I mean, you can make findings that I didn't include. Yeah.
How about the additional set of stairs?
Yes, thank you for asking. So the additional set of stairs are required. We had an engineer. After our last meeting, we discovered that we need to go through the State of Maine Fire Marshal to get ADA approval, Fire Marshal approval, and so forth. So I submitted a plan to them. I had an engineer come out to devise the plans. She went through the specs of the building, and according to the most recent code, unfortunately, we need another set of stairs on the other side of the building, just because of the length of the building. So we're trying to minimize the space over there. Obviously, we want to maximize that usable space for patrons. And she designed it to spec based upon that. I submitted some drawings, as Margaret said, but they were after the fact, so we didn't get them into the application this time, but I can certainly propose those next time. But I think fundamentally what I would love from the planning board today is something along the lines of, yes, it's okay, pending, it meets current code or something along those lines. And then the other issue that I think that was on the table, Margaret, you mentioned the septic inspection. So I've had the inspections done, actually twice. First one was useless. Second one, I had them come back out and actually test the pumps and things. Everything is working except for we have an issue with the soil air. That was an issue that we talked about last time. So I have the soil air expert taking a look at it. He needs somebody to come up from Connecticut in order to inspect that. And I'm hoping to, again, kind of ask for approval pending a letter or something from the combination of the septic folks and the engineer who's working on the soil air, saying that it's in working condition. Because it does meet the code, it meets the standards based upon what we discussed last time. I had the Old North Environmental take a look at it, and they approved what we were planning on doing from a capacity standpoint. So it's just whether or not the system's working, and it is, other than the one component which we'll fix.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Maybe they'll approve it for you.
Halfway home and realized I forgot.
Can I ask the applicant a question?
Yeah.
Okay. So did you submit these approvals to us? Do we have these approvals from these folks that you just said? said, yes, this will be fine?
Yes.
Okay.
We-
So we have all of that.
We have the approval from the DEP.
Okay.
That's in my memo. It's the last page of my memo. Oh, no, that's not true. He
was
included
a
the DEP
septic.
approval. I included the DOT approval, which he also
Right.
received between the last meeting and this meeting, which was really exciting.
But
The
there sounds
septic
like
is not-
something else,
The
yeah.
septic's not done yet. Basically, he's had the whole system inspected except this one air pump
Mm-hmm.
that is essential, but he has to bring somebody up from Connecticut to approve.
But otherwise, it's okay, except for this air pump.
Yeah, we
Is
just
that
don't
right?
have document.
Am I right on that?
We
Okay.
don't have any documentation.
Okay.
The design is approved. It just needs to be in working order, which we have one more component to fix before
Right.
it's in working.
Okay.
Does everybody understand what this septic air pump is?
No.
Anyone?
No, but I assume it needs an air pump, so I was
would
going
you
with
mind?
that.
So I don't know.
Sure, Amy, of course I will. Yeah, so it's a complex system. It's a, it's a septic that runs under the Route 123, as we know. The septic area is shared. I have right of way onto my neighbor's property. It's actually his property, and my septic is on his property with a right of way. There's a septic tank on my side of the property, on where the old Estes building used to be in that parking lot.
Yeah.
There's a pipe that runs from that into the leach field, which is across the street. Across the street has pumps to help with that, facilitate that process. And then there's a soil air, which, from my understanding, and forgive me for not being an expert on soil airs, pumps air into the leach field to help with the distribution of the waste. An aerator. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So basically, it has the ability to make a leach field be able to handle double the capacity of waste. So you can make a smaller field with the same, if you add the soil air component, you can have a field that's half the size of a field size that you normally need, essentially. So it allows him to have a lot of capacity in a much smaller space. So it's really essential.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the challenge is, we just had electricity hooked up. I didn't even know I had an electric meter over there, but I had a new electric meter put in. Everything was working. We got the pumps working. It set off an alarm, which was associated with this aerator. I had him come out, and he thinks what's going on is the air compressor itself is not working properly, or is not getting the appropriate electricity, but he needs analysis from the parent company to come up to take a look at it and fix it. So it's a small fix. Worst case scenario, it needs to be replaced, but I don't think that's the case.
Oh, electricity.
Oh, electricity.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this is happening because the building hasn't been used in 5 years.
Yeah.
So all these, components that are used to getting exercised have not been exercised. Had to replace the well, had to replace a few other things.
Okay. All right. Anything? Dan?
Yeah, okay. So I'm looking at what Margaret sent us. And you had a number of things that the standard was not met. And my question is, have any of those been resolved? First of all, the first one was the
Stairs.
stairs.
Well, it brings, so not only do we not know that this, assumably his engineer has made some code compliant stairs, but not being able to really review them, we don't know if the new stairs are going to meet the setbacks. But also that you have to make new findings about pedestrian circulation and that sort of thing. So I think that because he's adding a new set of stairs. So you guys can make that finding tonight or not. I didn't have a chance to review the additional stairs.
Okay, because Mike, because you had like 3 different things where the standard was
Yeah.
not met.
Right.
And, I would rather be in the position of having you say, even though the standard was not met, that there's something that we can put into motion? Or is it something that, what do we need in your opinion?
Well, the stairs just need to be reviewed. I didn't I didn't have a chance. I don't know what the stairs and the setbacks are gonna be, or, you know,
I think what Dan is, if I understand you correctly.
Yeah.
I think we want to have findings of fact that are clear and reflect what's happening at the present moment, and that are up to date with all the information that's been provided. And it seems to me like the information's there, but we haven't been able to review it. And what I would, again, kind of like to do, if we could, this is another moving target. I don't know how this would affect your timeline, but maybe table this and then come back when everything has been reviewed and is hunky-dory, and then have a new set of findings where they're all recommended that we approve.
From the stairs perspective, yeah, I think that's.
For the stairs,
that's fine.
for all of the,
septic inspection. I mean, the septic inspection could be punted to the codes office.
Yeah, it can be.
That's
Yeah.
up to you guys,
but
whether
the
or not you
dimensional
want to.
requirements for the exterior stairs.
The one question I had was the stormwater management.
Yes.
Because now he's changing how the stormwater could flow on the site. So do you want to make any additional findings
I think we might
based
wanna
on these standards?
incorporate it, but I agree that it's an improvement, not
Right.
not more impervious surface.
He's not putting asphalt down.
Yeah.
He's taking asphalt out.
Yeah.
So
Are you
that's
on
good.
page 4, Margaret?
Yeah.
I'm on page
Okay.
4, and then
Yeah.
on page 5, the subsurface waste disposal. Just, I'd like to not have to go through tonight in the public, on TV, rewriting the findings of fact so that they meet something that we vote on that might later have to come back with more change. I'd like to all make sure that it's done.
That depends on Andrew's project, right? Any other changes that come up for him, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I would like to do, but I'm happy to do with whatever the board wants. And if Margaret has another suggestion, that'd be great too. I mean, I'd love to give you your approvals tonight.
So Amy, I'm okay. I think that's a fine proposal. I'd love to get approval on the wastewater management, the replacement of the asphalt, because I have a contractor ready to go on that now, and we're running out of time for the winter. The stairs, I still have to run that through the state of Maine from the fire marshal perspective to make sure they're cool with it. So absolutely okay with postponing that until perhaps the next planning board meeting and going through the approval after that's been done, making sure they don't have any revisions before
Okay.
we come back, right?
Okay. All right.
And the others, I think, the septic sounds like it's something that can go through codes.
Okay.
So I think I'm okay with that proposal for sure.
Good.
Okay, well then, does that mean that we go through the findings, or that
That
we
means we table it.
Yeah, we table it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
But he wants approval to
But you
do
want
the
approval
This
groundwork.
one, this is the erosion control
Just that
piece.
one portion?
I mean, it belongs to him. I would think that, does he need the approval to do it?
can we give verbal approval for,
Here's what I would do.
yeah,
I would, under background and overview, strike the stairs will be replaced. We are not going to consider that as part of this proposal. He will come back and say, these are my proposal, this is my proposal for the stairs.
Where are you?
The first page, the very last, under background and overview, where it says the stairs will be replaced.
oh, okay,
So if you just strike that, it's not part of the record.
Thank you.
The stairs will be replaced and he'll apply for it at a different time.
okay.
All right.
And any other changes that get made. And then dimensional requirements, I would put that up with standards of section 15 that are not applicable to the application. So I take section,
Okay, so
standard
15.1.
15.1, and I put it up
Okay.
under
Okay.
dimensional requirements. So we don't need to make a finding because the findings haven't changed. For septic, you you know, that's up to you. I mean, you could give it to the codes office. You could make it a condition of approval that he's going to submit a septic report within 30 days.
Do you know when they're coming yet?
Well, I'm in process with them, hopefully this week. Probably next.
So for the septic, you could say a standard is met based on the following finding
The applicant will provide evidence that an adequate wastewater disposal system exists. Okay.
within 30 days.
Okay, all right.
Did you remove, I'm sorry, I was crossing something else out and got behind. What did we do about the proposed replacement of hardscaping does not include the addition of vegetation?
That's the only one that I think you guys maybe want to discuss. I don't know if there's a way to improve how stormwater is handled on that site, given the fact.
I mean, he
that
apparently
it's
heard
incorrect.
that was okay. He checked that
Yeah,
vegetation was not necessary.
but if you look
Right.
at, you know, the standards, are there improvements that can be made now that we know he is tearing up the asphalt and replacing it with stone? Maybe that's good enough for you guys. Maybe you want to say, can you look into plantings? I mean, that is the one thing I feel like.
That a plan for the proposed replacement of hardscaping with the addition of vegetation to manage stormwater will be provided to the planner,
Yeah.
to the planner, if she determines,
If it's
You're
required
back
or
to
whatever, yeah.
What, I
Yeah.
guess the question that I have is, what does that mean? Because there's no plantings there today, 0.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no room for plantings. And if I had to put plantings in, what would they be and what would the dimensions be? Those are the things that I'd need to know.
okay, this standard is met then based on the finding that the proposed replacement of hardscaping and the addition of vegetation to manage stormwater will improve the drainage on the site.
Well, I think the drainage would be improved with the little shells or stones or whatever that he was putting, would it not?
Yeah.
I'm happy to,
I don't know if it needs additional
We need
vegetation.
vegetation in there?
I
I'm
think
just-
if you read this, it talks about replacing it. It doesn't talk
Yeah.
about adding, I mean, there's spots to adding new, but only if there's
are
space.
you planning to add any vegetation? Okay.
No, we're planning on adding boxes, like planter boxes, which don't require additional approvals from the state and so forth.
No.
It doesn't really.
Okay, all right, I'm ready to go.
I'm
Okay,
okay with
we
that
have-
vegetation.
Wait a minute, did we cover everything there?
I think so.
Do you want to
We
read
didn't
to
cover
me
that it's
fif-
going to look really cool with shells down there, by the way.
Yeah, I want to know where you get those shells.
Me too, that's going to be the hard part.
Last place I knew was Cape Cod.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there are a lot of them.
But I do wonder, if you are putting in planter boxes, could you not just put in vegetation to help manage the erosion in the stormwater?
But again, the question is, what would we put in? Then we have to maintain them as opposed to leaving them in boxes and so forth, right?
Yeah.
So if you have direction on what I should put in, I'll put it in.
I don't want to be that person. Okay.
Mary Ann
If you
has-
guys are happy with it, then that's okay.
I think Mary Ann has,
Mary Ann's doing something.
I can't hear you.
she has ideas.
Oh,
The Conservation Committee.
okay. Conservation Commission can help.
Okay.
All right.
But now it's a very messy,
To-
now it's a very messy item.
Yeah, it was.
Well, we're getting there.
So in my opinion, that's a nice to have as opposed to
Yes.
a need to have,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Yes.
And I'm happy to go to the Conservation Committee with
Yeah.
suggestions if we decide to
You'll-
put that in, but if it's not required, I'd prefer to have it.
You'll get
approved.
free landscaping advice.
Great.
That's what you get.
Yeah, exactly.
I just
People
think
that
that
know what
any
they're talking about.
opportunity to, with that place being so big and so close to the ocean, any opportunity that you have to improve erosion control, filtration, stormwater management, any opportunity is going to be a good opportunity.
That's
You know,
Make use of them because they really are, they know what they're talking about. And then you'll make new friends in the community, too.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Who knows, Okay. I'm going to make a motion, unless someone else wants to make a motion. Please
No, wait.
correct me if I screw something up. Don't hesitate. So I move that, okay, let's see. The following criteria shall be used by the planning board in reviewing applications for site plan review, and shall serve as minimum requirements for the approval of the application. In all instances, the burden of proof is on the applicant, who must produce sufficient evidence to warrant a finding that all applicable criteria have been met. I move that the standards of Section 15 that are not applicable to the Ziegler application include Section 15.1, dimensional requirements, 15.4, access into the site, 15.5, 15.6, 15.7, 15.8, 15.11, 15.13, 15.14, 15.15, 16, 17, 15.19, 15.21, and 15.22. I move that they continue to be met based on the September 2025 approval of the planning board, and no changes or de minimis changes are proposed.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
No, we have somebody online.
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Lori Rice, aye.
Amy Hybel, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Thank you. Was there somebody, did you think?
There's someone sitting there, Aaron Solar.
Oh, Aaron Solar's been there for a while.
Well,
Aaron
he's
Solar.
one of the applicants.
He's the next,
He's the
oh,
next-
next one up.
person.
Yeah.
Next
He's
person.
one up.
No, he's the next
That's good.
person.
Excuse me for a minute, okay. Okay, standards of Section 15 that are applicable to the Ziegler application. I move that the planning board finds that the application of Andrew and Elizabeth Ziegler meets the following approval standards of Section 15 of the site plan review ordinance based on the following findings that are incorporated into this motion by reference. 15.2, 15.3, 15.9.
Will you read your 15.9, Amy, for the record?
15.9,
What's the finding?
the finding is that adequate provisions have been made for the collection and disposal of stormwater that runs off proposed roads, parking areas, roofs, and other surfaces through the improvements, the diminishment improvements that are proposed for stormwater drainage on the shore side of the property, and that they be shown on the plan, that they are shown on the any new plans. Thank you. Where was I?
15.10.
15.12?
10.
10.
15.10, 15.12. With the condition that the applicant will provide evidence that an adequate wastewater disposal system exists and has been inspected by a licensed inspector to the satisfaction of the codes office.
Do you want to give a timeline, 30 days prior to opening?
Within 30 days?
If I could get 45, that would be even better. 'cause
Within 45 days.
Thank you.
Thank you. 15.8.
Dan has something.
Since we're incorporating what was recommended to us by reference, I think under 15.12, to say that we're deleting the paragraph saying the standard is not met.
Okay.
I think you guys are making the findings, and then in the notice of decision, the findings that you guys make are incorporated into the
Okay.
motion by reference.
All right.
So I think you're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, better.
It'll read well. Yeah.
Good. We'll
Good.
read them carefully.
thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
15.8,
18?
18. Ooh, we got one more to do. 15.20. That's a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Let's second the motion.
Thank you, Christine.
Christine Donovan Hall.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Lori Rice, aye.
Amy Hybel, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Dan, do you want to read the conclusions of law?
Sure.
Thank you.
Here, okay. In light of the findings of fact with consideration given to the supporting documentation in the record, I move that the planning board reaches the following conclusions. The planning board finds that the applicants Andrew and Elizabeth Ziegler have met the standards of the town of Harpswell site plan review ordinance and approves the application and site plan for an art collective at 1906 Harpswell Neck Road, map 18, lot 108, with the following standard conditions of approval. 1, this approval is not final until such time as final plans showing all conditions of approval and any waivers granted have been signed by the chair of the planning board. This approval is based on the approved plans and all submissions and information provided by the applicant at final approval, whether referenced in any findings or conditions of approval. 2, this approval is dependent upon and limited to the proposal and plans contained in the application and supporting documents submitted and affirmed to by the applicant. Any variation from the plan, proposals, and supporting documents, except de minimis changes as determined by the town planner that do not affect approval standards, is subject to the review and approval of the planning board prior to implementation. 3, the applicant shall obtain all necessary state and federal approvals before the applicant commences any land use activity pursuant to this site plan approval and shall comply with the requirements of those permits and approvals. 4, all work shall be completed in the conformance with best management practices for soil erosion and sedimentation control. 5, this permit is limited to site plan review. A separate sign permit shall be obtained by the code enforcement office based on compliance with the Harpswell sign ordinance. 6, one copy of this notice of decision must be recorded by the applicant in the Cumberland County Registry of Deeds within 45 days of approval, and the book and page number provided to the code enforcement officer. Failure by the applicant to record the notice of decision shall void the site plan approval. 7, the applicant will provide documentation showing approval from the Maine Department of Transportation. That's already been
Strike that
done.
one.
Strike that one.
Strike 7, please.
Strike 7. 7, this approval is based on the finding that the applicant proposes to undertake improvements on the structure of less than 50% of the market value of the structure. A flood hazard development permit for improvements totaling greater than 50% may require substantial changes to the site. Any proposed changes that qualify as new construction or substantial improvements, as defined in the Harpswell Floodplain Management Ordinance, on the site will impact the findings of fact in this notice of decision and are subject to review and approval by the planning board before permitting by the code enforcement office. 8, prior to occupancy, the applicant will comply with all conditions of approval contained in the Old North Environmental Report, as well as all recommendations in the Goral Palmer Memorandum. The code enforcement officer will prepare a memo documenting that the conditions and recommendations are met prior to issuing a certificate of compliance.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Lori Rice, aye.
Amy Hybel, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Okay.
Thank you all. I guess I'll see you next month, too.
Well,
first day,
I'll
right?
tell you, your proposal for stairs can go to the staff review committee as long as it's just small changes. So
Cool.
you may not get to see everybody next
But
month.
we'll see you when it's open.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me somewhat sad, but if I don't see you, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Much success.
Does anybody want to take a 5-minute break? I do.
I do.
I just have to take a
just fine.
5-minute
Yeah.
break. Thank you for your patience, all of you.
You
We
never
don't
know
get
where
paid
this
when we take
application
breaks. We have to sign out. All right, this, we'll begin again. This is now, this is actually the first item of new business tonight, and it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
We will go until
9 something.
9:30.
think
We
it's
have the
9:30,
option not
yep.
to hear an item after 9:30, so
Let's see what we can.
let's see what we
Rock
can
and
do.
roll.
Sarah Dabney and Aaron Solar are the owners. Jeff Smith is the applicant's rep. This is an application to remove a non-conforming seasonal cottage and construct a new non-conforming seasonal cottage in its place. The site is located at 4 Wentworth Lane, which is map 25, lot 37. The lot is just over half an acre, .59. That's according to an undated survey by Sightlines. The lot is 100 plus or minus feet wide and about 174 feet long, with a 50-foot by 127-foot flag at the south end of the property, small bump out to the north, and a small bump out. The property is located in the Commercial Fishing 1 zone, from the high water annual tide to the 75-foot upland, and in the Commercial Fishing 2 zone, which is from 75 feet to 250 feet upland of the annual high tide zone. There is residential allowed in the Commercial Fishing 2 zone. There is no residential use allowed in Commercial Fishing 1. Because this property is an existing property, it is allowed to be reviewed and rebuilt, or at least it's eligible. So let's hear from Margaret to do a little bit more summary, and then maybe we can hear from the applicant. Any issues that we should be watching for, Margaret?
Well, I think that this is a really interesting property for a lot of reasons. It's in this really weird flood zone called a coastal AE zone, which is a new zone to us, but it basically means you're in an A zone, but you have to build to velocity zone standards, which I think it's an unnecessary zone and kind of unfair. But it's basically saying they get wave action there, and I think we've all seen it. Dan's photographed it. I mean, we've all driven. A lot of you guys live on North Island, so it's part of a sand dune system. So the beach is a sand dune, and the house is in what's like called a back dune. So it basically supports. It's the area that supports the sand dune. And obviously it's non-conforming. There is a pretty sizable building envelope on the lot, but the applicant is proposing to rebuild the house in both the eastern and western setbacks and only make it conforming to the 75-foot setback.
Okay.
And replace the septic system.
Yep, okay. Would the board like to hear from the applicant? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear from the applicant.
Hi.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Smith. I'm representing the owners of the 4 Wentworth property. And thank you for the opportunity to introduce this. I think most of you were there on the site visit, but the original cottage is much the way it has been since it was built, with some minor improvements. The back-to-back January storms of 2024 flooded that lot and that whole area. The high water came up just about to the floor, finished floor level, but it certainly moved around the pilings and things, and the storm surge damaged the garage pretty substantially. We, the owners and I, decided that removing the garage was the best move at the time. It could have been rebuilt. The roof was it was one piece, big shed roof. We could have put it back together, but we were eventually going to do a major project there, so we took it away. That happened beginning of June last year, in 2024, and that area was grassed over. So we're proposing removing the existing cottage that's there and the remaining shed that's behind it, which was part of the garage structure, relocating the building site, which is currently non-conforming on 3 sides, including the 75-foot shoreline setback, and constructing a new, larger home, moved back behind the shoreline setback. We're building it up in elevation to get it up out of the flood zone, and we've proposed bringing in about 3 feet of fill in the footprint of the cottage. So if floods again, there at least won't be water laying underneath the structure. And the elevations that we proposed are best shown on page A5 of the plan that I think you all have. The new home that we're proposing will be non-conforming, will still be non-conforming on both sides, however, much less than the existing home and garage footprint as shown on the proposed plot plan. The existing non-conforming area, including the garage footprint, is currently 1,698 square feet of non-conforming area. The proposed home will have a non-conforming area, or with the proposed of 353 square feet, which is a net reduction of 1,345 square feet. So we're not trying to expand the non-conforming, it's a 79% reduction. I don't think we're asking anything special here, anything outside the land shoreline ordinance. So it's definitely like your consideration on this project. Any questions?
Thank you. I think what we'd like to, are there any questions? Yeah. We may, if we don't have any now, we probably will as we go through, so
Sure.
you may have to come back up. Any questions from the board? Or would
I
you
was
like-
just going to ask, you said you're bringing in 3 feet of fill, and then is it elevated up on top of that as well, or is it just 3 feet from where it is?
Overall, from the existing floor plane of the cottage that's there to the proposed floor plane of the first floor is actually 48 inches.
Oh, 48 inches,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. There are several issues in the draft motions that were provided to us by our planner. I think she's really outlined the issues that we need to look at pretty well, and thank her for that. This is a jurisdictional issue for the board. The board has to decide whether it wants to exercise jurisdiction over review of this application or remand it to the planning, or to the codes office. We can do either one. Based on the planner's review, she raised 3 questions for us. The first was that the garage was substantially damaged in the 2024 storm. And the owner has 18 months to obtain a permit from when the structure was removed or damaged by more than 50%. And if the applicant wants to start the 18-month clock, then they would need to provide documentation that the garage was not substantially damaged in January of 2024. Would you like to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, it kind of gets into the weeds of, I think that it goes to this question, the applicant's proposing to use the existing non-conforming garage footprint as the setback, as the minimum setback for the new house. because it's like 20 feet from the property line instead of 25 feet. But the part of the garage that was non-conforming is no longer there. It got removed in June of 2024 because it was damaged in the January of 2024 storms. So when a structure is damaged by more than 50% of the assessed value of the structure, you have 18 months to rebuild, 18 months to get a permit from the date that it was damaged. Their argument is it was damaged by more than 50% when it was removed in June of 24. And so that is when that 18-month clock would start ticking, and it expires in December of this year to kind of use that non-conforming footprint. I would argue that we've all seen the pictures of the damage down there in January of 2024, and I think that if they wanted to use that footprint, they would need to make an argument as to why the structure wasn't damaged by more than 50% in January. Does that help at all? It really gets into the weeds of the shoreline zoning ordinance. But, my third point here under garage questions is basically, if they're going to tear down and rebuild the garage, it has to be conforming to the greatest practical extent. It would have to go in the building envelope. So even if you want to say, the 18-month question aside, that I think the nonconformity of the garage has got a lot of issues. There is I don't know if you noticed, but the homeowner does have his hand raised for whenever you want to call on him.
Okay, I want to just make
Yeah.
sure that we stay on this point until
Yeah, of course.
we all have firm footing. Okay, so the garage was substantially damaged in the 2024 storm, and it was removed in June.
I think that would be my interpretation, and I think that
But you're suggesting that the applicant needs to submit some kind of further documentation or request that says that it was substantially damaged for the record? Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm saying that in my opinion, the clock would have started in January of 2024 when it was damaged. They're saying the clock started in June when it was removed.
I see.
But that clock matters because if the 18 months started in January of 2024, it has already expired.
Okay.
If the clock started in June, it hasn't expired and it expires next month.
Okay.
If I might interject.
I would go.
Sorry, you have to go there and introduce yourself, sorry.
Also, you do have the homeowner still wanting to talk.
Yeah, we'll do that.
If I might interject, what exactly are you calling substantial damage? I mean, there's a good portion of that building that's still standing. And
Right.
We're calling it a shed. And that was probably a good third of the value. Or more, because that actually had a floor. The garage never did. So the remaining garage, basically a roof and 3 walls. The roof was fully intact. The 3 walls were pushed around because they were just sitting on footings and stuff. I think you'd have to argue long and hard that it was beyond 50%.
Yeah, I just don't think that you as the applicant have met the burden of proof of saying that the garage was damaged in June and not when the damage was done in January. That's all I'm saying. But I think that is I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think actually for the record, that would be important to add.
Well,
to the
I would
record.
think so too, but that was brought to my attention Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, we're all dealing with.
And so if I have to wait till next month, now we've run out of the actual 18 months, whether I prove it or not.
I see. Okay, thank you for that. Right, that makes sense. All right, let's hear from the applicant. The applicant would introduce themselves? Yes.
Is that me?
Yes, that's you.
We're ready for you.
Nice to, nice to meet you all for the first time. Wishing I'd
Would
be
you
there
turn
in
your
person,
volume up,
but-
please?
Or is it
Or
our?
Mary Ann can turn our volume up.
Yeah, I think you need to turn your volume up. Okay, can you hear me?
It's better.
Better.
Better, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so, I mean, one of the this cottage was built in 1900, so it's very much 2 seasons, if not 1 season. So if damage were to occur in January, we're not going to be up there to assess the actual damage of it until May. I have what are currently 11-year-old twin boys and a 7-year-old daughter. Would I let them in the garage at that point in time? Absolutely not. Just based on the structural condition. Again, I went to school at University of New Hampshire for economics. I'm not a structural engineer, but at the same time, I can understand the actual damage date of January, but no one would actually go on that property under approval, even though it's kind of like a somewhat rental property until we can make it a full season house, which is what our overall goal is, to bring our kids up there and ideally retire there, because that's what we want to do, and that's why and when we fell in love with the property, we knew that the cottage was not our forever house, but the location was. And we have become, friends with all the neighbors, all the people, and are very much our intent is to better the north side of Bailey Island. So as we can improve the structure of our property, just based on the overall footprint of it, and as Jeff, notated, the original specs for bringing up, 2 or 3 feet. I want to go up 5 or 6 feet. I want to use the best practices of what we're doing here in Maryland, which is where our primary business is now. And once we can sell, which is hopefully yesterday, and move up there, we want to do, the best that we can do, from, having a living shoreline riprap, having, plants, making a better location for the lobstermen to drop their boats, and just make it a overall better place for all. But as we improve the permeability of the property, make it better for all the people that are on wells on the north side of the island, because I know, well water was a concern this past summer with the drought and all, the lack of rainfall. So it's more than just a garage. For us, is being better neighbors and better stewards of not just Bailey Island, but Harpswell in general. We want to do as much as we can to be better neighbors. And I don't see that a lot down here. And being from New England, where you pretty much knew everyone in town, back in my hometown in New Hampshire, we want to be those kind of neighbors, and this is what we want to do. So this is what we care about, and hopefully you see, what Jeff is proposing, and can see beyond the lines of what he's proposing, that we want to just do right by everyone. So that's my little soapbox spiel after my first town meeting in ever. So buying the property on Fort Wentworth, but we absolutely love being a part of the town. Love seeing all the same faces at Cook's and every place on the island. So I'm Aaron, but nice to meet you all.
Thank you.
May I ask you this isn't a jurisdictional question, or it's a question that is important for this review, but just wondering if you plan to live there seasonally or permanently, or?
Honestly, I want to get out of the DC area. That's probably the best way I can put it. My blood pressure is the lowest it is ever. Once I land in Portland, give me an hour being on the ground, and my kids turn into normal kids. They're not wanting to be on their iPads. They find Maine is their home. My daughter is away from all of her iPad games and everything. For us, it's we want their summer jobs to be at Salt Cod Cafe and Fishnet Cafe, and or even down at Land's End. This is where we want our future to be, and I have not been more sure of that in anything in my life other than ask my wife to marry her. She asked me for a puppy earlier this week, and I said absolutely not. But for Jeff can attest that we've been working with him for years of what do we want to do? How do we want to do it? We want to do it right. We want to color inside the lines at all costs. But obviously, when we're working with over 100-year-old 2-bedroom, 1-bath cottage, that's not going to work for the 5 of us, as my OCD son can clearly attest. But at the same time, just seeing the same neighbors and having Lorraine come across the street with her pet snails that she used to collect on the side of our shed. These are the kind of neighbors that we want. And for us, this is, I consider Bailey Island more home than Annapolis, Maryland, which is where we are now. And again, that's for business purposes. But Margaret, on your left, I can definitely agree with all of your points. I would not contest to any of them, and I think all of your points are very fair. But at the same time, like when it comes to like say the garage for a minimal usable square footage of space, which still had permeable ground underneath it, and again, like the design of our future house would be completely permeable and not detract from any of the fresh water from going into the local aquifers, which we definitely do need, in my opinion. No, I think that what the board is hearing is very fair, and I'm more than happy to support whatever you guys decide, but also to make sure that whatever we can include as part of our design process, and I've already approved my wife to get solar power and to draw less off the grid, so therefore we don't have to have additional infrastructure for electricity just because we have a larger house or air conditioning or something like that. Whatever we could do to better the environment, on the island and in the town, that's what I care about.
Okay. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your comments.
Of course. Absolutely.
Okay, so the first issue has been clarified. Really, it's that the question about whether to start the clock of January 2024 or June of 2024 in terms of demolition for the garage, or substantial demolition for the garage, or damage. The second issue is the non-conforming structure being replaced is the dwelling, not the garage. And the applicant, Margaret says, should provide evidence that they can utilize the nonconformity of the garage setback for the location of the reconstructed dwelling. So the setback for the side yard is 25 feet on both sides. If you look at the original plan, the house certainly doesn't meet the existing dwelling certainly doesn't meet it. The proposed new dwelling will still be in the setback by 5 feet, and the proposed new dwelling uses the existing garage as the rationale for the not meeting the dimensional requirement for the side yard setback on the opposite side, which is the southeast side, anyway, away from the road and closer to the neighbors near the Carrolls. Yeah. And then the third issue is if the garage is to be removed and replaced, the replacement structure would have to be conforming to the greatest practical extent, which would likely be within the building envelope. So these are just issues that if the board decides to take jurisdiction, the board's jurisdiction really is to determine whether or not setbacks have been met to the greatest practical extent. So we are limited in our ability to review this. That doesn't mean we can't review it. It just means that the focus of our review is very structured and is not, we can't go beyond the bounds of it. The other issue is the septic system is not reflected on the site plan. So let's talk about this. Margaret says there appears to be enough room on the property for them to meet the setback, the side yard setbacks, all the setbacks. And again, there's no septic system shown on the plan, so where that would be, we're not sure. She says the total footprint of the original structure can be reconstructed beyond the required setback area. So the reconstructed structure is required to meet the setbacks for a new house without building in the non-conforming area. That is according to the zoning ordinance. So our question, I'm sorry, go for it, Margaret.
I just was gonna say, I think the ordinance is really clear about that. If, here it is. If the total footprint of the original structure can be relocated or reconstructed beyond the required setback area, no portion of the relocated or reconstructed structure shall be replaced or constructed less than the required setback for a new structure.
Yeah.
So they're saying if you take the footprint of the original structure, if you can put it in the setbacks, in a place that meets all the setbacks, then the reconstructed structure has to be in a place that meets all the required setbacks. And it gets rid of this idea of the 30% non-conforming, because they're saying, like, you can expand in the building envelope. You don't need to expand in the non-conforming area.
Right, okay. So it makes the whole garage issue a moot point.
Yeah, my opinion.
It really does. All right, so is there any discussion about this? Any further questions from the board?
I'm a little concerned about the lack of the septic being shown, and when the house, let's say the house is required to be in the building envelope, where exactly is the septic where is it now, number one? It just says, assumed.
It's getting replaced in the same location. It's just going to be 30 feet longer, I believe, than the original one, and it's just not reflected on the site plan. I don't think that would change our approval or not. I just think that
it's
if you're
okay
going to have a
there.
complete and accurate site
Okay.
plan,
Okay.
It should be shown.
it should be shown. That's
Yeah,
all.
okay. It's really a codes issue, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
The existing one's there's a replacement one, it's gonna over double in size, or the capacity is gonna be much greater because they're proposing a lot more bedrooms.
Yeah. It was the apparent septic field that threw me off.
But it's gonna be 30 feet longer. Yeah.
So our, as you probably know, just as for the applicant's information, and I used to work in land use planning in Maryland, so I know what we're doing here is like extraordinarily lightweight in terms of what is required in the state of Maryland. But that being,
100%.
That being said, what we are trying to do is improve on past performance by the board and the codes office, which made sense at the time but doesn't now. We really need to make sure we have accurate drawings so that we can go back 5 years from now and say we know exactly where X and Y are, and there's no question. Things have been done here by word of mouth and a handshake for a long time, and that was really great that we could do that, but we no longer can. So the question for the board is whether or not you want to take jurisdiction.
Before we do, can I have a question? And this is very simplistic, so bear with me. But I'm looking at where the setbacks are, and it's almost like I'm looking at the house dimensions, and if you just turn it, quarter turn, because it's a 44 by 34, so by turning it a quarter turn, you gain 5 feet on either side, which would give you 5 feet off the setbacks. Is that possible?
Yeah, if the view, I mean, the house is oriented to the view.
Of course.
So now we're going to orient the view to the street or the neighbors. So that's why the
Mary Ann's gonna come out and tell you to go to the podium if you have to talk again, Jeff.
So
She's lurking
the
back there.
response
She's
was that the house is oriented toward the view, and that's why the house is as wide as it is, and
I think the decks are pretty wide, are they not? I'm not very good with architectural
8 foot.
drawing.
They're
could the
8
deck,
foot.
could the
On
decks
both
be
sides?
reduced?
I mean, it sounds like we have a building envelope that you're required to use, so.
The porches, the wraparound porch is 8 feet on either side. And then there is a small deck that extends out 4 additional feet
Right.
into that garage setback. That if I were to reduce the wraparound porches on either side to 7 feet each side, and then bring that deck that extends out into the garage setback, if I reduce that by 5 feet, I could meet the setback. If we were forced to do this, I could meet the setback on that easterly side, on the easterly side and the shoreline side, and then we would be 4 feet non-conforming still on the street side.
I understand the desire to really get the best house you can, but you have to do it within the zoning ordinance. There's just no other way, and we can't tell you as a board that you don't have to follow the zoning ordinance, because our job is to make sure you do. So you will have to meet the setbacks. As far as I think I could speak for the board, you will have to meet the setbacks either for the board or the codes office, either one. That's a given.
Right.
And it's great that you're able to move the structure out of commercial fisheries. Is it commercial fisheries 1 or 2? Because there isn't any residential use allowed in I think is it commercial fisheries 1? And since the structure has not been rebuilt within a year, you wouldn't be able to even rebuild there. So I just want to say that I would really make every effort. If you want to get a building permit, you need to meet the setbacks. It's a nice try. I would have done just what you've done. No offense. It looks like a great house, but I think you have to conform. Yeah, and if you conform, you're done. You don't have to come back here.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, you go to the codes office and they take care of it.
yeah.
So are we taking jurisdiction or
That's the
or
question.
not?
What would you like to do?
Well, if it's not going to fly, I guess I would withdraw our application to the planning board, and we'll redraw it and go to the codes office.
Yeah.
And from a homeowner standpoint, I do want to say that we are trying to maintain 100% permeability on the property, just based on the foundation plans and the overall building plan. So despite there being some non-conformity based on what the current designs are, at the very least, I'm mainly looking at the ability to absorb as much of the stormwater and rainwater as possible to benefit the fresh water of all of our neighbors and everyone on the north side of the island. So these are just the things that I, as the homeowner, that I'm trying to incorporate. So despite we may be overlapping some of the conformity by a few feet, these are the things that I care about as a, again, future permanent resident, but also my neighbors involved as well, because it's, for us, it's, I don't want to have people have to go buy 5 gallons of water down at, Shaw's or Hanford or whatever, just to be able to have fresh water in their house. So that's my only other comment there.
Yeah, that it would. That's much appreciated. Dan, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I really appreciate what you're trying to do and how much you love Harpswell. But I think you've got an idea that what we're dealing with here, we don't have wiggle room, unfortunately, under the ordinance. Fortunately, you
No, I understand.
Fortunately, you do have a large enough building envelope to be able to build something there. And so, yeah, the only time people have to come here is if there's no way that they can conform to those ordinances, and I think you're going to be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, like me, I can't.
So, welcome to Harpswell. And
No,
really, I mean that
and
sincerely.
much of our land is not buildable because it's all swampland, and nor would ever want to try and fill that in, just because I know that people's kids used to. Well, I mean, not people now, but their kids, used to ice skate on that property back when fresh water used to flow down from the top of the island. So, it's what used to be pond water is now just marsh water in the winter. But Again, just environmental conservation, restoration, and whatever we can do as homeowners. And, I want to, again, color inside the lines, but make sure that, we can leverage the land that we, that purchased, and just, it benefits everyone because, if our property values go up, our taxes go up, that benefits the town, and, everybody else's taxes go up.
Well,
So
that's true.
you're not going to hear me complain about that anywhere else outside my, from my wife hearing
We
it.
have among the
It's all
lowest
good.
property taxes on the
Maine.
coast,
In Maine.
in Maine.
Yep.
So we're very proud of that, and we aim to keep it that way. So we also really enjoy our environment, and when I read the New York Times article, or was it New York Times or Washington Post, it might have been, that said Maine is one of the top places to raise kids in the United States of America. And that's for free. So welcome to that. And I expect that we'll be seeing you in codes.
For the documentation on the record, do you guys want to take jurisdiction and find it that it doesn't meet the standards? Or are you happy
question.
having
I
him?
thought they were going to withdraw,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because at that point, if they withdraw, then we don't have to address that.
Right.
I just think for transparency and documentation,
How about,
that way there's a piece of paper in the file that
Okay.
says they reviewed it and this is the finding.
I
that they
move
made.
that we accept the applicant's decision to withdraw.
I'll second it.
All right, moved and seconded. Any discussion? Nope. All those in favor of approving the applicant's decision to withdraw?
Courtney Snelling's aye.
Lori Rice, aye.
Amy Hybel, aye.
Dan Hoback, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You guys thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. All right. We now move on to our final item on the agenda tonight, which is James Ford and David Matero, who is the applicant. James Ford is the owner. This is map 52, lot 138, 35 Laurel Shore Drive. Does anybody want to do a site plan review summary?
I did
Or
not
a
write
site-
those down. I was there, but I did not.
Oh, we
write
forgot
my
about
notes.
those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
She
so
was
we
doing
did do,
I was bad, I'm sorry.
we did do a site plan.
It was
for-
really raining, so.
Yes, it was, it was. All right, so I'm going to ask Margaret if she would like to just summarize this project for us.
The applicant is proposing to tear down and rebuild a non-conforming A-frame. It's pretty close to the ocean. I don't know what the exact distance is.
About 14 feet.
14
14
feet.
feet.
The applicant's proposing a really moderate reduction in nonconformity with the general plan to preserve a stand of trees behind the structure. There is a building envelope on the property, but it's really taken up by a CMP corridor, plus a 10-foot easement on either side of the transmission line. And the applicant did provide us documentation of that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, thank you. So,
And the other thing is they are proposing a replacement septic, but they did not provide us design.
and once again, that's not required for us, but it will be required for codes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not, but it's in the standards of when you're looking at the greatest practical extent,
Okay.
one of the standards is for a septic.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Margaret.
So I do think could be within the review.
All right, so we are, again, this is another jurisdictional review. We are determining whether we'll take jurisdiction review of the application or not. Would the board like to hear from the applicant?
Yes, please.
Sure. Right, thank you.
Great, thank you. My name is David Matero. My company, David Matero Architecture, is located in Bath. And I was happy to see some of the members at our site walk, even though it was raining, because I think it is an important site to get your eyes on. The A-frame is beyond repair for a renovation of any kind of a modern, not a modern, just a comfortable, comfortable home. And we would like to tear down and replace it. The challenge that we have with this site, as Margaret mentioned, is that there's a CMP corridor that goes right down the middle of the site. Between the road and the CMP corridor, there's a 10-foot conforming strip of land, which obviously you couldn't do anything on 10 feet. But there is a really nice wooded area there. Then we have our sort of clear cut of our power line. And between that clear cut and the house, there's also a very nice wooded, forested buffer zone between the already cleared area for the house and the CMP power lines. It is our hope that we can maintain as much of that buffer as possible. It's nicely wooded. You know, there's certainly good erosion control there, but it's also aesthetically quite nice. And to have to put a house right on a power line would be unfortunate, I guess, design and aesthetic-wise. The area that we're proposing is already developed. It's been developed since the cottage was built. And we are proposing to move it back from the water, but there's no way to move it back to 75 feet. So we're trying to maintain a buildable area that we can work with. We know we need a working septic system. We won't get a building permit without it. But we're, as an architect, I'm trying to find a location of a buildable area. Once we have that location, then we can start working on a very specific design for the owners related to the site. And then we can also work with a soils engineer to hopefully replace the existing septic system with a conforming septic system, which would likely be concrete chambers because it's currently right underneath the driveway. So we will obviously have to provide a working septic system. We would not get a building permit without it. But we're trying to do this in an order that doesn't sort of waste money, so we know, or waste money for the owner, so we know where the house, or an envelope for the house, so we can design within those constraints, which is exactly what you wanted to do with a previous owner. Give us our constraints so we can design within that. So that's our, and I should have also mentioned that the client, Jim Ford, is here if we have any specific questions for him as well.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
With regards to Margaret's memo, I just want to draw your attention to her overview of the conformance with the standards, which are things that we can think about when determining whether we want to take jurisdiction or not. And she says, and I just want to thank you, Margaret. You've made it really easy to take a look at these applications, and you're getting more and more attuned to what's helpful for us, and really appreciate it, because it helps us to do our job.
It's a lot of work, let me tell you.
I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah.
All right, so there is a conforming area on the property, but as the applicant's rep mentioned, it contains the CMP corridor, Mr. Matero said. So the land is slightly sloped from the road and the subsurface wastewater disposal field down to the water. The shoreline is mapped as an unstable bluff. So this may change the shoreline setback a little bit, but the replacement structure will still be non-conforming regardless. This is going to be non-conforming no matter what. The septic system hasn't been designed, but it's an integral part of the project, and the applicant should provide the design prior to determining the future location. I'm getting a nod. Margaret advises that the applicant's relocation ensures a minimal impact on existing vegetation by only relocating it 6 feet further from the coastal wetland. And Then this is the part that I think we need to pay attention to. Based on feedback from Jeff Kalinich, the DEP Shoreland Zoning Coordinator, the structure should be moved back further and the land revegetated between the replacement dwelling and the water, which will provide maximum erosion and stormwater treatment from the dwelling cleared area. Okay. And then this is another tricky point. The application appears to consider expansion and relocation as a single step. We've been through this before. The relocation of the existing footprint should be considered before potential expansion is factored in, because the existing structure needs to be relocated to the greatest practical extent, and then the expansion is designed. It took me a little bit of time to really understand exactly how that would apply, but I do understand it now.
It's kind of the 59 Potts point
Yes.
Yep,
Yeah,
we had that.
exactly.
question.
So I wonder, Mr. Matero, do you have any comments regarding those points?
Well, I think DEP is always going to fight to move the house back, right? I mean, they're looking at a line on the map, and they're going to try to move everything back as far as they can. If we had to move the house back to 25 feet, we could still work within those parameters. But to what extent? I mean, if we had to move back 50 feet, I mean, I don't know if we can make it work. So we could, I know we could design a house if we had to move the front of the house 25 feet from the water, because that would give us, we still could work with like a 30-plus foot buildable area. So that would work. But the second point I wasn't really clear on. We're site-specific designers, so we have to know where the house can be located before I can come back to you with a design.
Yeah.
We don't design a house and just like plop it
We
on
get
the
it.
property. So what I'm looking for, if it's possible, is to say, well, you have this area at these contours, at this buildable height that you can work within, and then that's what we would come. I don't know if we need to come back here, but so I didn't understand the second point regarding whatever would happen on Potts Point.
Yeah. No, I think that what you're doing is a wise move. I do.
I think in simple terms, the Potts Point thing applies here because you would move the house to the greatest practical extent and then expand. In this case, you'd probably expand lengthwise.
Sure, right.
Yeah.
Because the house, if it's moved to the greatest practical extent, there should be nowhere you can go to the back.
Right.
But it's just something that I think we see a lot of, which is, well, we can do a 30% expansion. So you do a 30% expansion, and then you put the house to the greatest practical extent, instead of first relocating the original footprint and then expanding. But I can provide you with that email from Jeff Kelly
Yeah.
if you're interested.
Yeah, I mean, I think, for us, there's a setback. We're not going to be close to our side yard setbacks.
Right.
The setback really for us is the water.
Yeah.
And, if it comes to 25 feet, well, then that is an area. So the current cottage, I think, is around 1,100 square foot footprint. Which if we use that expansion would give us close to I think around 1,500 is what I have in here. The desire by the owner is to have around 1,500 square foot cottage, not footprint, but square footage. We haven't designed anything yet. My guess, we're looking at 1,000 square feet on the first floor and maybe 400 or 1,100 on the first floor and 400 on the second floor, something like that.
Yeah.
Within that, and I don't know if you're shaking your head or not, because I don't even know if like I said, we haven't designed anything yet. So I'm just trying to find out what are my parameters that I can work with to design, a modest, cottage.
Just a question of,
Go for it.
curiosity. What is the distance from the edge to 10 feet to the required 10 feet on the one side of the corridor.
The edge of the existing structure or the?
No, I'm talking about from the unstable bluff,
Oh.
going back to the 10, the
Well,
10-foot.
The edge of this edge here is the 75-foot setback.
Which edge of what?
This right.
Way back there.
So this is the
The
75.
seaward edge
Ah,
of the
okay.
hatched area is the 75.
I looked all over, of course, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank
from
you.
here
So,
and to-
just over 75 feet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, I understand why that wouldn't be ideal, but that it's possible to move it back to the greatest practical
Well-
extent, right?
There's no envelope there because you run into the 10-foot easement.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was asking for
It's about.
how much there was when,
Yeah, there's
when you
another-
got to the 10-foot easement. Yeah,
Sorry, there's another 10-foot strip, so 75 feet till we get to the easement of the corridor is
Right.
about 10 feet or so. So there's a 10-foot sliver that is conforming between the corridor and the water. There's a 10-foot strip.
It's that little hatched area.
Yeah.
On the plan.
This is the building area.
The issue
that
there,
could be
having,
taken
this is
down.
where doing the
This is what's
sidewalk
the
is
allowed
really important
building
as far as I'm
envelope if we follow
concerned.
the ordinance.
Because one of the things
Weird.
that we look at
Okay.
is
That's why
the
it's so
impact on
thank you.
existing vegetation by relocating the structure and
Or tear down.
I just,
More in.
just based on,
I think, because that's. the
I'm
whole
just
thing.
thinking, like, if
25
you say move it back, you gotta tear some of that down, then you gotta put new stuff there. You know what I mean? So does it really make sense to do that? To
yeah.
me,
But are you
mean,
protecting the land side or are you protecting the water side?
yeah.
Well, that was my question
Yeah.
to Jeff Kalinich, and he said that the point is to manage the water by doing erosion control and stormwater control by having the vegetative buffer between the house and the water.
Yeah, you'd actually want, for erosion purposes, you'd want to move it back.
Yeah,
Right. Well, the unstable bluff made me a little nervous.
yeah.
Honestly.
That's how it's mapped. I don't really think it looks super, I didn't think it looked super unstable, but, that's what the ordinance says, and
Yeah.
that's what the bluff map says.
So.
Oh, he's got a poster for that.
I do. So, I overlaid, and this is not scientific, and neither is the unstable bluff, right?
Right.
Because it's done by people going around in boats. But anyway, I overlaid the unstable bluff map onto Google Earth and pinned 35 Laurel Shore. And it is like probably in the yellow or maybe even in the green. It's pretty close. I also have some photos. Which I could pass out. So there's definitely, it kind of does look, there's some bluff area, but it's also exposed ledge right there as well. So, and we have had situations in other projects where we've had, an environmental scientist remove our property off the bluff list. I don't think it's worth it here. We're also not in a velocity zone. Actually, our flood maps, I think, Margaret, you pointed out, our flood maps in this area actually went down from the most recent flood map. So, and this is sort of Long Island, and this is all, muds out quite a bit. So anyway, there is, it is considered an unstable bluff, but it's certainly not in a category of really bad unstable. But all of that does affect your setback. So I forget the gentleman's name from DEP. He recommended, get at least 25 feet, which is kind of your no-build zone anyway. And as I said earlier, that one we could work with because it would give us enough room to build a house and still get the ability to provide plantings between the house and the water to help with erosion control and stormwater management.
So you push it back from existing, how many feet?
From the existing one?
It's 14, it's about 14 feet now, so it's
Another 10, 11.
9 or so
Okay.
feet, yeah.
So under section 10.3.2, it establishes how we make our decision.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry. Under what?
10.3.
Thank you.
10.3.2.1, which
Oh,
is
here it
in
is. Yeah.
Margaret's, it's on page 2
Two.
of Margaret's, at the bottom, under the review of the application. We need to look at the size of the lot, the slope of the land, the potential for soil erosion, the location of other structures on the property and on adjacent properties, the location of septic systems and other on-site soils suitable for septic systems, and the type and amount of vegetation to be removed to accomplish the relocation. In my opinion, just based on the site walk, I think that what is being proposed here is the greatest practical extent. I think that goal has been accomplished.
Yeah, and I think the memo from Jeff that talked about moving the envelope back from the water further, that's one of the times when it's really a benefit to do a site walk.
Yeah,
Because you
absolutely.
get to see,
Yes.
because as nice as those little trees look like on the drawing, it doesn't really show how substantial they are.
Right.
And the idea that, I'm not sure how close it makes sense to go to power lines and that as well.
Yeah.
And to keep that buffered with the existing stuff, I agree with Amy. I think that's, you're in about the best place you can be.
I think so. So,
I think Jeff Kalinich's email totally disagrees and suggests that it needs to be moved back further to get that greatest practical extent.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I kind
Like
of
said,
gathered that.
He wasn't at the sidewalk.
But he'd be happy to go to one with us if we request him.
Yeah. I think that's appreciated, but maybe not required here, but much appreciated for sure. What would the board like to do?
Obviously, in a perfect world, we could push it back, but again, those power lines, and I read enough studies, there are impacts the closer you get to power, especially over a long period of time. Having a buffer is a nice thing. It's just trying to find that perfect wiggle spot. And if you're gonna move it 2 feet, after some point, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
I'd like to do 25 feet if it's at all possible, just because I've seen the storms. I know it's a protected area, pretty well protected. But at some point, the erosion, things erode. They don't stay the same.
So you build on pilings.
Yep. That too.
You really have to.
Or you plant a really awesome vegetative buffer
Yeah.
that reduces the Earth's ability to erode.
Right, that goes into ledge.
Do a combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Combination, yeah.
my question for Margaret is, if we decline to take jurisdiction, then is this part of the record so that when Mr. Matero goes to codes, he can say, this is what the planning board, no, so how do we?
If
how
you
do we-
decline jurisdiction, then the code office gets to make the determination of the greatest practical extent.
So it would be most helpful if we take jurisdiction. Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion? I move that the planning
Nay.
board exercises its jurisdiction as outlined in section 10.3.2.4 of the Shoreline Zoning Ordinance for the review of the application of James Ford's conformance with the standards of the Shoreline Zoning Ordinance to reconstruct a non-conforming structure on Lot 138 on map 52. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion?
My issue now is that we don't have a building plan.
But we're taking jurisdiction, so we will get one.
Oh, is that, okay, that's,
I'm happy to come back with a plan for you. That I just need to know where it can go.
He wants to know
Okay.
how far back he should go.
Right. Because we need something about the septic as well. Poor guy can't do,
He can't do the
can't do a
septic
septic
until the house is built.
unless there's a building envelope.
I agree. So,
I think the idea that we take jurisdiction makes sense, so that the decision about how far you go back isn't left into the codes office.
okay, so
Yeah,
let's,
no, if I can interject, I do agree, but there's a sort of an outline, right, that's established in that plan, and within that outline, we wouldn't be able to build any decks, any roof overhangs, any walls, so everything in a building would have to be within that outline. So if, and I'm happy to come back, but you're going to be just looking to make sure that the house is within that outline. I could also suggest the code office would have that same outline and can attest that the building is within that building envelope. I'm happy to do either one. I mean, I'm comfortable that we can come up with something.
may I amend my motion?
To within here, all of it.
The motion has been moved and seconded. How do I amend, can I amend it?
Sure, because there has
Or
been,
you could withdraw it.
So I will amend my motion to include the language that we request that the applicant return to the planning board with final drawings or
Something.
with,
A building design?
With a-
Yeah,
with-
final
yeah.
drawings for us is a
I know,
is a
that's
lot.
what I was with the designs for the building
and the septic
and the septic.
Using the that
Using
building
the
envelope.
the material that was submitted as part of this application, including the sheet number L.1.1, which shows the proposed allowable building envelope. Okay. So that's my motion.
who seconded the first?
I second it.
Okay.
So then I re-second it? I
So,
re-second.
so by doing that, you're saying that you agree with his building envelope on this plan, and that you're
right.
saying that, okay. But I don't know that Lori necessarily agreed with that.
I said in the perfect world,
Okay.
I would like it farther back, but having been to the site, you're moving it a foot here or there, we're splitting hairs. It's really not going to gain that much on either side.
He has
So
like
where it
25
is-
feet, he could move it back. I mean, it's not a foot or two.
Are you talking about taking the trees down in that case? If it's moved back that far? No, I'm asking.
Some of them could be taken down, yeah. And some of them will have to be taken down regardless.
Yeah, you can say,
Yeah.
some, not very many.
That's why I wanted to know what the distance was.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did second?
I'll just say a second. I'll stick with the 20 feet.
It's gonna be close anyways. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
on this outside, it's gonna be, I mean, it might be, what, 7 or 9 feet back?
And then, as Lori
Yeah,
said, then you're
25
getting
feet,
closer
they
to
can
the
move it
power lines.
From here to here is all area that they can move it back.
What are these little hatch things for
This is
then?
the building envelope. This is the 75-foot
I
setback.
don't want to look for my.
This is the CMP corridor, and then this is more building
I
envelope.
think Lori's concern was closer to the power lines.
I know, my
Yeah.
brain is
Yeah.
turning to
Well, what is
Okay.
this? Is this another?
Okay, we have a motion
but it's
on the
ledge.
floor. It's been seconded. Are we ready to take a vote?
Any
or-
further discussion?
Sorry. I was trying to figure out what this part was on
Okay,
here.
all those in favor of the motion, please signify that you, all those in favor?
I heard you.
Do your thing.
All right. Courtney Snelling's aye.
Lori Rice, aye.
Amy Hybel, aye.
Dan Hobeck, aye.
Christine Donovan Hall, aye.
All right, we'll see you.
We'll see you again.
Sometime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you again, thank you.
Thank you.
I was still looking.
Thank you for doing it this way. If the applicant before you had done it this way, they would have saved some money, wouldn't they?
They wouldn't have come to the planning board at all.
Yeah.
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 We must have more to talk about.
All right.
now. Here, will you take one of these and pass it along?
Before we break up, is this time that we can have a general discussion?
Yes.
There you go.
I have to make an announcement that I will be stepping down from the planning board.
Oh, we're going to miss you, Lori.
Actually, I do. I still might be around for that.
They'll be part of the public
we're
record.
So, yeah, Georgetown. So, a lot of reasons involved in it. But, yeah.
Oh,
So this was a hard
you
one.
taking your Jeep?
Yeah, I'm taking the Jeep
Oh.
too. Sorry.
We'll miss the Jeep.
Are you leaving, Harpswell?
Going to Georgetown.
Oh, okay.
So as the crow flies, I live like 7 miles away, but
But it's forever to get there. It's at least 40 minutes.
it takes 25 minutes to get from one place
Oh.
to the other.
Jeez.
So it was a lot of factors that into play, and it just works best for us. But it is hard to leave Harpswell.
Wow.
That's been a tough juggle decision, and there's pros and cons with it all around. But
Yeah.
you make a decision, then you make it work.
Well, congratulations on
Yeah.
moving to where you believe you ought to be.
We'll find out. You might, one of those things I told my husband, you might make a decision, you regret what you make, but you make a decision, you live with it. So I'm excited, but nervous too, so.
So when is your resignation effective?
It's actually kind of fluid because we're not selling our current house right away. We're going into the holiday seasons. We're actually closing on the new one Friday. And then, so definitely in the spring, but in the meantime, it's kind of in a state of fluid. There's some word of mouth going on, and we've already got a few people that are interested because they've been trying to get into Harpswell forever. And anything on Harpswell that's decent house that has no maintenance issues, and we have no maintenance issues. We've kept up with everything. So I don't think it's going to last, but as long as I still have a residence at Harpswell,
Yeah.
I can still legally be part of the planning board. I just don't know how long that will last.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
why you guys need to know and find my replacement.
Okay.
Oh, so your resignation is not effective immediately?
It's not, because I still will be a resident of Harpswell
Oh, okay.
for a while.
So you're just giving us advance notice that it's.
Because it could change in a couple weeks. So, I don't know.
Oh, man.
So, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Been a lot of
I
fun
don't know
here.
a planning board without Lori. I've never been here without one.
You're such a voice of reason, and
Yeah,
I.
she's good.
I
Thank you,
really-
and-
I really rely on you're really solid observer, and I will really miss you.
I'm planning on reaching out to Georgetown Town and see if I can get on their
Lucky.
planning board.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I saw you out there and you were talking about wells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, you read
They have
everything.
wells
You
there
just-
too.
I also would say that I really love I love your background, that it's in insurance and risk, and I like that you use that technical expertise when you look at planning board applications. I always
Thank you
think that's
very
really
much.
helpful.
Really appreciate it. I'm going to miss working with you guys. This is a hard one to announce, and sometimes just no good way to say it.
You know, this board, we do a lot of hard work on this board.
Tonight was a tough one.
It's not easy to be on this board. You have to do your homework. You can't just come and wing it.
Yeah, and then you know people too, so you're like, you kind of feel.
Yeah, yeah. And we really have to work together and rely on each other in order to do, plus we care about the town,
Oh, gosh, yeah.
you know? You can't just not care.
No, and we really, most of the people who come in here are very well-intentioned.
Yeah.
And they want to contribute to Harpswell and do what they can.
Right.
And trying to find a solution for them is
Not
tough.
always easy,
It is
yeah.
tough.
Yeah.
Well, I will get a memo to Christie tomorrow telling her that we need 2 more full-time planning board members.
Yeah.
And Heather, I don't know, you may be happy being an alternate since you've got.
If you can find other people, I would prefer to stay.
Your
alternate.
eyes gotta be
For right
there
now,
for
no, I just, between my kids and their sports, I think it's probably better if I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that does.
But if it gets down to it, I would.
Yeah. Well, you could stay as an alternate, but we need 4 voting members.
Yeah, so that's something I want to, again,
Yeah.
the sooner the better, because that's more important than anything else.
Yeah.
Just find some that.
I will say my attendance will be better for the next 6 months.
Because you're through the
there's-
sports.
And work is much quieter this time of year. So it's not.
All right.
Oh, we have to approve the
Well,
minutes.
gosh, based on that,
Do we want-
I just want to, can we do minutes later? Because I'm like,
It's 9:15.
yeah. I just want to say the workshop on December 3rd at 4:30, maybe put that on your calendar.
That's what I'm doing.
It just ended out, I don't know if it made it all the way to the end, some.
Agenda.
I saw that in there, yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
it
a
never
draft.
got
If you
passed.
guys want to add
No.
anything,
Yeah.
subtract anything,
Amy,
Okay.
is it here?
This one's yours.
yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
We'll have it probably in the small conference room.
Okay.
December 3?
I'll make this, so.
Good.
So, we're
already
gonna talk
have
about bylaw amendments, ordinance amendments, and then, a planner project for 2026.
Cool.
Freshwater wetland mapping.
You know, also should talk about the implementation for the comp plan. We should just have that on our minds because,
What's our section, do we have like a section in it, or is it in, there must be a section that we have to apply, I'm sure, because of all the changes that potentially can
yeah.
be made there.
I mean, if any board member wants to apply to the select board to be on the implementation committee, please. Yeah, but. It's gonna be a slog. It is.
Did we hear back from the state yet? Because they were doing a review
No.
on it.
No.
And how much are you
The
gonna really
completeness,
implement too?
the completeness review is done by the 20th of November.
Okay.
And then sometime in mid-December, assuming that we get deemed complete, then they're gonna do, to make sure it's in compliance with the law.
My hope is that that we can find some grant money to hire somebody to do the implementation.
We don't have to find grant money, I budgeted for it.
So there you go.
So the plan is my plan, tentatively is to hire a consultant for the first year of implementation.
Oh, thank you very much.
Help kind of get us organized and talk
Yeah.
about ordinance amendments and really the short-term meat of it.
Yeah,
Um,
because the whole ordinance needs to be rewritten,
Yeah.
reorganized anyway. Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Okay. Gosh, I was gonna leave and go, yay, we're done. And now I'm kinda going,
Sorry.
darn. Okay,
Well,
all
at
right.
least it's for a good reason.
Are you
It's not like,
announcing
you know,
we are
your
adjourned?
We
bill
are
or something
adjourned.
like
No.